Hello again. How do you like this special effect? I'm experimenting with my Logitech. This is a tortilla chip. I love hot sauce and tortilla chips. Now, hot sauce happens to be very good for you because it's got chili in it, and chili is very high in vitamin C and a bunch of other things that are good for you. It has no calories either. By contrast, tortilla chip has no nutrition whatsoever, but it tastes fabulous. That's how sin is. The stuff that is good for you is totally unattractive and not tasty. And the stuff that's bad for you is totally tasty. There's a basic disconnect between what's good and what tastes good. You know, chocolate tastes good. Yeah, but it's not good for you except in limited amounts. Now, this particular video is going to deal with stuff like that. There's a disconnect in Calvinism when they read the Bible. And we're going to go through some of the Bible verses that they use to take out the nutrition that's actually in the Bible, because they want just the tasty part. And in order to make it tasty, they have to flip the meaning for, compared to what's actually in the verses. Now, for those of us who are not Calvinists, we see this happen routinely. And there are millions of people out there trying to tell the Calvinists, hey, excuse me, but when it says Christ paid for all sin, in hundreds of verses, they'll tell you that all doesn't mean all. It's kind of like talking to the Muslims when you point out Surah 37, ayahs 83 through 113. Isaac is the one who's mentioned as being sacrificed there. So there's no such thing as Ishmael being sacrificed in the Quran. Oh, but they'll tell you it was Ishmael. Well, okay, but the antecedent noun is only Abraham and Isaac in the passage. There is no place that it says Ishmael was sacrificed. It's right there plain in Arabic or English. Oh, no, it doesn't. So that's the problem you're going to have with the Calvinists if you try to counter them on these things. It's just like they want the tortilla chip version of the verse. So they turn it into a tortilla chip without nutrition. And that's how it's tasty to them. Okay. There are a lot of categories. Wait a minute, I've got to get my... I actually made an outline so I don't wobble so much. Okay, there are a number of kinds of verses that they screw up. And you probably know most of these, so I'm going to try and cover it fast. The biggest category of verses that they screw up are the draw verses, D-R-A-W in English. The Greek verb for that is helkw. It's a very common word in the Old Testament and in the New. And it basically talks about when you pull something, there's a resistance due to weight or due to difficulty or something. It's not just pulling a thing, and that therefore it comes to mean drag or draw. This verses like that, they will pull out, the Calvinists will pull out, well, unless the Father draw him, he can't come to me. Alright? It's true that if you are dead, you are a dead weight, and you are very heavy, and somebody has to draw you. It is also true that man is spiritually dead as a result of sin. That's mot tamut, which I covered in the Genesis videos. But it is not true that you have no free will, or that you only have a rejecting urge, as we just saw in the prior Calvin, the prior Contra Calvin videos. Not Calvinism. I don't think Calvin would be a Calvinist if he came back today. But that's another video. What I'm trying to cover right now is that when Calvinists read the Bible, they got to put their spin on it. And the fact that you could take the same verse and say it means something else, they can't hear that. If I have to draw or drag something, these are the draw verses in the Bible that they will always quote you as if that proved their position. No, because if I have to drag a dead weight, alright, then it's still a dragging of a dead weight. If I'm paralyzed, I might want to be free, but I'm still paralyzed. Remember, the free will is not affected. Or what's affected are your other attributes. If you are in Iraq and you get shot, your body is affected, but your will is still the same. And the temptation, of course, is to be affected by it. But you can will not to. I can will to sin or go to the bathroom. That always remains. Even if I have an urge to go to the bathroom, I can say no. Even if I have an urge to be away from God, I can say yes. Now, the difference with the sin nature is that both of those trends, to say no and say yes, sit there right alongside each other. And the urge to say no is founded in the urge to have one's own merit. That was why the woman gave in to the stupid guy. You can eat this fruit. Oh yeah, magical fruit. Yeah, right. She gave in to it because she wanted to have her own merit. Adam gave in to her, partly because he had to choose between God and her, but partly because he agreed. I want to be something on my own. Independence. Yeah, as if that was a good thing. So, the Calvinist doesn't understand that's the real issue. That it's a two-sided problem, like we saw in the last video. It's a two-sided problem. Yes, we can say yes, but we have this urge to say no also. And it's a struggle between them. Hence, the actual way that they should be using those draw verses is, yes, there is a problem. Yes, there is resistance. Yes, it is difficult to say yes, but it's not impossible. And so, it's like you're paralyzed. Alright? You want to say yes, but you want to say no. It's the Romans 7 problem, even, pre-salvation as well as post-salvation. It's always a struggle to say yes to God. Because we have this urge to say no. Alright? So when you see the draw verses and you see them use the draw verses, like what was it, John 6:44 or something in there. When you see them use the draw verses, counter with that. It won't do any good, but counter with it anyway. At least you know why it is. It's like when you have to get up and go to work in the morning. That's the best analogy of all. When you get up in the morning, you have to force yourself to wake up. That's the hardest thing for me to do. Alright? You have to force yourself to wake up. You're going against a resistance. You have to force yourself to get up. You have to force yourself to take a shower. Unless you're really excited about what lies ahead in your day. Getting up in the morning is not an easy thing to do. And a lot of times it's not easy even though you want to get up. Alright? So the fact that you have resistance helps you understand what the sin nature really is. It's a resistance, but you can always say no to it. It's just really hard to do that.